Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast 541. Miku is for everyone, even the crazies. Now, we've never covered this YouTuber before. Let's just take a moment to find out about this guy. He's named Otaku Daikun. He has almost 90,000 subs. This video came out in December of last year, has less than 5,000 views. And I don't know much about this guy aside from him being very into anime. Of course, if you name yourself Otaku Daikun, I think you've got the naming conventions for a few Italian nouns there. Of course, the kun being representative of a child, I think. Or is it Chan? No, kun, I think, is just
guy. It's
just male,
usually male kid.
Otaku was.
I thought kun meant younger.
I thought Chan was.
It's usually used. It's usually used for boy. Chan is used. If Chan is used for boys, it's for very little kids.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this video is 13 minutes, almost a little bit. It's tough to go through. When I mean tough, it's his voice and the way he articulates the end of a sentence. It's kind of like he's almost asking a question, or he's like this pompous sort of dude that has to be dramatic at the end of every sentence.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
So it's a bit strange, and I wouldn't recommend it. Like to talk like this in person or with people, but I guess this is what he's been doing. People like it, and good for him. As for the topic of Miku, I don't watch Miku. I don't listen to Miku. I know she's a thing, but I've never actually paid attention to the lore or how
the lore of Miku.
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
Is this a Vocaloid thing?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't Vocaloid kind of like that AI where you can just type in any words and they'll sing it or whatever?
I don't know. I really
It's
don't
not
know.
really
Yes,
an
it
AI,
is.
but
It's
yes.
it's technically yeah.
Okay.
I was more fan of Luca.
Yeah, I don't know.
Miku is too high
Pink-haired
pitched.
one?
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the pink haired with the boobies.
I'm trying to think of the one with the red dress that had a short, tomboyish hair that I liked.
Of course.
Miku is definitely the one with the long green twin tail ponytails things.
More like teal.
Teal? Yeah, teal. Probably
Yeah.
dark teal.
No, light teal.
Bright teal? I don't know. Teal, sure.
I've heard that Miku originated the freaking Nyan Cat song, actually.
Really?
I don't know if that's true, but she is that old.
Oh my god. That's old. Holy crap.
It's Nyan.
Yeah. Anyway, if we can tolerate the first few minutes, we should be fine. But I haven't gone that far, so I don't know what to expect. But the first 30 seconds will make you cringe, I guarantee. Even for the anime fans. Okay, you guys ready? We're good to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh, wait.
Here we go.
How good's my mic, by the way?
That's fine. Sounds good. We can hear it. All right. Here we go.
Check out today's piece of fan art. It's a Shiro Emiya version of Neko arc.
Whoa, I'm getting some echo.
Ah, crap. That's on my end, isn't it?
Do you have,
Just use headphones.
or push to talk? That's easy.
Hold up.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Crap.
Okay, put yourself on mute and figure it out, and then we'll keep going. Okay.
I'll just turn the volume down on here. That should be fine.
Okay. Here we go.
Considering Carnival Phantasm's got an ensemble of these guys, it's really no surprise. The Neko of Justice. Thank you so much, Sam Jade Harley.
Music.
Yes. Totally original, I hope.
Welcome back to Otaku Daikun. Dai here. So, TikTok is a bizarre social media platform. It's got some fun stuff, but it's also a place where obnoxious people can vent their nasty attitudes for the world and receive Yas Queen validation that makes
It's
me want
also
to gag.
controlled by the CCP.
Yeah, these are the things that we knew years ago.
Isn't TikTok like getting banned or something in the US?
I don't know, but
In your dreams.
Yeah, 1 minute videos, I think. That's what it is, roughly? At most. I don't know how long you could put videos on there, but they're like super fast YouTube videos that YouTube made its own shorts. I don't know if that's to compete. So you make a YouTube.
Yes, yeah, definitely for the competition.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really use it. I'm happy with Twitter and YouTube being more than enough to share content. So.
Oh god! Like a few days ago, I noticed that the demon himself have returned to YouTube.
The
Ray
demon?
William Johnson.
Oh my God!
He's
Really?
he's making YouTube shorts now.
Oh no!
He's not just making them.
What's
I remember
happening
hearing
for him?
that, I remember hearing that he's also doing YouTube songs again as well.
That and your mom.
Oh my God!
Doing your mom. No, not for this.
By the way, I
stream.
heard a lot of people shit talk him a lot or whatever.
That has been a thing for
Yeah.
ever since he has entered YouTube.
Yeah, he used to do that. This is 3 or whatever with his 3 fingers.
Equals 3, yeah.
Equals 3. I was like, okay, what the? What? That's a programming term I wasn't expecting. Oh boy.
Like your favorite Martians, that stupid band too.
Ah,
Yeah, I like the band. It had some pretty good songs.
well, good for him. He's back.
Like doing your mom.
I was thinking about that. Damn it! I'll have to go through the song stuff again.
The one that I recall is Tiggle Biddies. That was
The stereotype song. That's probably the
there was
most-
so many. I was like, this is so
Oh,
silly.
the stereotype song is stupid. I love it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there are less obnoxious people on YouTube.
Oh, Mr. Douchebag. That's one of my favorites.
Oh god.
Anyway, he's probably looking for cash, getting the money going. I understand. Everyone's tight these days. Okay. Anyway, back to Anime Land.
One such TikTok has been making the rounds, featuring a woman with the caption, "When I see men looting Miku," to a song that screams, "She's mine!" It's frustrating how there are nearly 36,000 scurrying vermin out there that agree with her. Seriously, where do these people come from? But it's even more irritating to read the comments. The most popular of which
Feminism.
stating that Miku is not for men.
Okay. Really? She's a female singing persona?
She's it's
The
not
fan art
correct,
I've
but it's,
seen-
you could say she's an idol in a way.
Yeah, virtual idol, yeah. What's wrong
The
with that?
fan art I've seen. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The fan art I've seen of Miku would beg to differ on that part. Miku is not for men.
There has to be some feminine appeal to her music. Like, I don't know what language. Is it Japanese, I'm assuming she sings in? So it's like, okay,
Yes.
how do you get
It's
into
why this. It's why the Vocaloid software works so well, because the Japanese language is very clear syllables, contrary to English, German, and all of this nonsense over here, where this is much harder to emulate. So Japanese is you could say predestined for a singing language. So you can just sing every syllable to a note, and you have a set number of syllables. While in our languages, it's weird combination noises most of the time, because we are not we're cutting everything up into its into the respective letters. In Japanese, you always have consonant vowel, consonant vowel, consonant vowel, with extremely few exceptions, and that makes it very easy to sing.
Yeah, so...
And the retarded alphabet. God.
Okay.
The one I hate the most states this, and for Sailor Moon. To explain why this is so messed up, we've got another comment saying, sometimes gatekeeping is okay.
I still hear
Oh,
an echo.
certainly.
Yeah.
Jester, can you
Okay.
please mute
Okay.
yourself?
Oh, sorry.
You better be.
Yeah, just use...
This is seriously, just like put it to push to talk. That's all you have to do. Bind one key on your keyboard. Like you have 102 keys
I
for
don't know how to do push to talk.
Oh,
that.
really?
You go to your
In the
settings.
options.
You go to a page called google.com and type in Discord how to enable push to talk, and it will tell you.
It's actually not hard. There you go. Anyway, back to the video.
Gatekeeping is something I've addressed on this channel before, and as someone whose slogan is celebrate your fandom, you might think I'm against it. It's a nuanced issue though. Generally speaking, if you have something you love and somebody tries to butt in and get it changed, condemning the very things you love about it, then I think it's perfectly reasonable to kick them out.
Yep, that's the point.
Yeah, he's got a good definition of gatekeeping. I'm just curious, is he doing these actions himself, or are these hand motions all automatic by some...
I think, no, it has to be a human, because like the mocap is just like too realistic.
Yeah.
There's no way that it's gonna be automatic, because like there's so much variation on that. You can't just like make it into an automatic motion.
Yeah, I remember talking to Shiny about that. He bought a whole suit that was
Yes, that
overkill.
suit.
But maybe he's just using like sensors on his hands, or is it like the
it's a full body suit. Like I remember that, even fingers and all that shit.
Yeah, because Microsoft Kinect just does the hands and the head, and everything just follows naturally. You don't need any equipment. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know how these things work. I've never seen the hardware for it, so I can't say.
Yeah, but I think like Kinect doesn't like really like do much, as in like a precise movement recognition. It just like tries to like imagine that like you have like a humanoid character is like in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And it tries to like match the motions of everything else. The kind of suit that like Shiny is using is way more precise tech, and like it's actually like commonplace in Hollywood. too.
Right. Well, I mean, his gatekeeping definition is pretty good, so he's doing well.
1 point for him so far.
In other words, if you don't like it, then leave. It's fine because what we enjoy is
What I wanted to say, what we could already see from the avatars that were complaining there, they had all the variations of the rainbow flag about the sexualities in the background. And these are the people that at first say, we're against gatekeeping, you must let us in. When they get in, they complain and change everything and throw you out and then gatekeep you out. They're basically like, what is the...
I actually had a bit of a
evolutionary strategy that is called that.
I actually had a bit of a gatekeeping story somewhat. Like, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it worked actually.
I'm concentrating.
Basically, I was in a fandom, where this fandom was of a game I liked called Nausea. Not exactly a popular game, but you know, still fun. It was a visual novel that, was like Among Us, I guess, or Town of Salem. Well, because of the fact there's 2 non-binary characters, Tumblr is a fan of it. And
so it was already an
I'm a
SJW game to begin with.
What?
There's no such thing as non-binary.
I know, but I'm just saying.
So if it was written as having 2 non-binary characters, that means it was already written by SJWs.
Yeah, I think it was in Korea, but that's besides the point. Getting back on topic.
It was just shitty translation?
Yeah, it was a translation from, I don't know the original shit, but whatever. Basically, I was leaning towards the right, everyone else was a hardcore leftist, and they hated my fucking guts. I even sent some screenshots of some of the convo in the politics chat. They basically told me to fuck off.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter if you're center right, up, down, left. It doesn't really matter. If you're not like them, they hate you. It doesn't
matter what you call yourself. If you are not completely on board, they will call you right-wing.
Yeah.
People don't understand what right-wing even means, even those that call themselves right-wing.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
They're just because the left calls them right-wing because they're not super hard communists, they think, oh, that must mean I am right-wing. It's bullshit.
The irony in that was, one of the links I posted was, to, like, you know, Trump got, evidence, it was evidence of freaking... election fraud in 2 states. They saw it as right wing, despite the fact that one of the sites was freaking freaking centrist, for God's sake. And the other one, I forgot exactly how far on the right it was. And I'm just thinking, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, all the definitions of political spectrums are just bizarre. Even in my country, we have the People's Party of Canada, which is a more right-leaning party of the Conservative Party, because this guy was from the Conservative Party, thought the Conservative Party wasn't conservative enough, he started his own thing, but no one voted for him. So we know it exists. Like, there's like 20 or 30 parties in Canada, but none of them get elected. So we don't know what the right even means anymore. And it's kind of odd to tell people, oh, you're not progressive. You're not listening to the will of individual mommies and all these various sexual definitions. And it's a bit strange to talk to people nowadays. It's been like that for a few years now, but you mostly just keep your mouth shut because you want to deal with this crap. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but that's how that is the problem. That's how they win. They want to make you not complain so that they win, because they know that the majority of people really is not for all this stuff.
Yeah.
When they say you're not listening to the individual, they want you to ignore the masses. When they actually have the masses on their side, they will tell you to ignore the individuals because they're not for their whatever they want. It's always just about what the left wants to happen. Progressive just means progressing what the left wants, and being reactionary means being in the way of what the left wants, and that means the socialists, the communists, so that the far extremists always.
All right.
And they're basically gatekeeping hard the left extremely hard by saying that if you are not 100% on board with our extreme insane bullshit, you are right wing. You can't be off the left.
Okay. Here is Alex Halo. Hey, thank you, Alex. Otaku-kun, Otaku Daikun, he is using a one of VTuber program. I'm sure there's many of them out there. I just don't know what they are. And
they're relatively good at just capturing you from the camera, I think.
I've seen one and two on Twitter, like someone was doing like a split screen. It looked really, really good. So they're pretty cool.
So it doesn't even require a suit?
No. Well, some of the ones I saw, they track the eyes. Like if it's just doing the face, it's great.
Yeah, the face tracking is really good.
Yeah, the hands and the body.
Because it seems to be picking up on like even the small motions for each finger. So yeah, that is impressive though.
I know. I don't really think he's talking like this though with his hands. I don't think people naturally talk with their hand motions.
He has his hands up so that they're in the frame.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
That's why he's holding his arms so weirdly.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was another thing? I'm sorry, I have a headache. I'm a bit slow today.
No problem. Gatekeeping. He's got a good definition going. He has very nuanced positions. Like, yeah, you're right. It is nuanced. It's good. So it's good. I'm liking this guy so far.
It's our business. We enjoy it on our own terms in a safe, respectful way. And it's rude for someone else to barge into our business and demand we forego our own happiness for their demands. The kind of gatekeeping we see in this TikTok, however, is absolutely disgusting. Condemning people for enjoying something because of who they are or how they choose to enjoy it. I hope you can see the obvious difference. The idea that Sailor Moon is only for girls is something I've already addressed in a previous video titled Women Do Not Own Anime Women. In it, I talk about my own experience growing up feeling ashamed for liking Sailor Moon as a kid. It was a guilty pleasure, something I didn't feel comfortable expressing in public. Thankfully, I grew out of that, and am proud to proclaim my love for the classic anime series.
Cool.
I think it's safe to say that attitude is much more common now, especially with feminist movements breaking down traditional gender barriers.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's why this happens. It's the feminists that want everything for themselves and give nothing to the men and boys.
That was an ironic statement.
Yeah, I don't think the feminists are causing people to grow up and talk about their love of anime and manga. That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Can someone remind me again about gender barriers? Isn't that basically just sexism, just diet version, though?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea what you just tried to say.
Yeah, I'm not.
Aren't
Hello?
Are you there?
Hello?
Aren't the traditional gender barriers that's describing people like sexist in a way? Is what I'm saying.
It
Because
can't be.
only
Gender
men
barriers
should be
is
like this, or only women should be like this.
It can be. If you're talking about like workplace ethics and what women demand people be treated as certain ways, not necessarily in like, oh, I should get a promotion because I've been working here longer than her or him or whatever, but just in how men and women deal with each other in a professional environment. It's gotten a little silly. You can't even touch anyone anymore. You can't like pat them on the back. You can't poke them in the arm. Like, just don't even think about touching people. So it depends on how extreme these people are talking to people or to others about how to behave in public. So anyway, here's another super chat from Alex Halo, of course. Otaku Daikun is the Fate series expert. Really? Okay. Cool. Yeah, there's lots of lore in all of the Fate series. I can't follow it because there's like 20 series and it's just hard to keep track of all the characters, all their iterations and all their abilities. It's just hard to...
Yeah, it Gundammed.
It is basically Gundam. It's its own flavor of Gundam, yeah. It's just, instead of robots, it's the same character in different poses and different clothing and different classes. It's kind of weird. So, fun times. Anyway, yeah, I'm still sort of freaking out over his arms. I just... But yeah, talking about anime and manga, maybe if I was a kid, I didn't, because, you're a kid, you're shy. But after you pass like 18, 19, you go to university, you join clubs. There's all kinds of clubs for everything art related. So anime and manga was one of the clubs I joined. I talked about it all the time with friends. It was great in the 90s. It was really cool. So, no, I had no problems talking about it. I watched it when I was a kid, even in grade school. So.
Yeah.
That reminds
me.
me
I hated about Sailor Moon was Sailor Moon. Every other Sailor character had more personality, was more competent. Roronoa in the chat mentioned that Venus and Mars would have made better leaders, and I agree, especially with Mars.
Yeah, well, every episode she's like, "Oh no, tuxedo mask!" It's like, "Oh god, here we go," and
it's so useless.
Yeah, and then someone else would come and save her, and you're like, "Okay." Every story.
This is just not a good series, honestly.
Yeah, well.
But it was what we had.
Yeah,
so we had it.
That was the 90s. Yeah, it was great.
And it's mainly why Sailor Moon is so big in the West, because that's the one big magical girl show we had, and others came over here much later. We did have Cutie Honey in Germany, but I think it only once.
Really?
And that's the original magical girl anime. That's the genre inventor, if you will.
Yeah, no, I remember.
As far as I'm aware,
it was in the 80s. If you got a bootleg copy, some of the Dirty Pair stuff,
and it was much better than Sailor Moon. It had a story that concluded within a season.
Yeah. Sailor Moon just kept going, and there was like a new version of it, and then there was new characters, and there was new villains. Every year was like R, then S, then double S, and then whatever. Galaxy.
Can we say that Sailor Moon is the Scooby Doo of Magical Girl?
Oh. Now I'm picturing Sailor Moon going like Ruby Doo.
I don't know.
That's basically her character, isn't it?
She's an airhead, yeah. She's totally ditzy, and she's just known for being the person who brings everyone together because she loves all her friends. Whereas all the other sailors have their specialty and their strengths and some of their weaknesses. Serena's just some girl who's scared and gaga for a tuxedo mask. That's it. That's all she does.
Yeah, but it makes her a horrible leader.
I know, yeah. I don't know why people follow her. Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Well, I mean, if she's the person that can bring everyone together, doesn't make her a bad leader because, well, a leader's supposed to lead. She's not supposed to be the strongest person.
There's a difference between the person that glues the team together and the person that actually has a plan and knows what to do. Bunny is not the one who knows what to do.
Yeah, Amy is usually coming with the plan. Mars is the one blowing shit up. We've got Lita kicking ass and electrifying people. And Venus is kind of basically the better version of Serena. She's kind of the same archetype. And then you get the other Sailor Scouts and all the other weird like Pluto and Uranus. And,
I think it should be stated I don't know jack about Sailor Moon. All I know is it's a very popular anime.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird because you realize these girls are like 5'2", and you're like, okay, they're not that intimidating. Then they start summoning like fireballs and like avalanches. You're like, okay, that's a little more intimidating. It just takes a while to get there before the power level gets high, and the enemies actually are galactic level power, and then it's like, okay.
And you just blast them with love beams and be done.
It's almost like that with Serena.
I'm sorry. Is Sailor Moon the bad bad inspiration for Steven Universe there?
Oh yeah,
Every villain
I
is
wouldn't
just
blame it.
misunderstood, and we just need to hug.
No.
Steven Universe had potential, but then they fucked it up.
I would say if you take the Care Bears and you combine it with just a romantic comedy in Japan, like that's what they would do.
Here's the thing about Steven Universe. I know it has potential because there's 3 characters from it I really
No,
do love.
no, don't go on that tangent, because then I will reply, and that will take us 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. Let's not do that.
What a threat! Oh god.
Oh no.
Okay, no more talking about what's her name? Odongo Atama? Meatball Head? Whatever, anyway.
There are laws being passed pressuring retail stores to stop branding certain toys as for girls or boys respectively.
Okay.
That's
That
bad.
way, a boy doesn't have to feel uncomfortable playing with Barbie dolls, or girls having fun.
That's not how that works. It's not because it's in the girl aisle or the boy aisle. You still know as a kid what's for boys and what's for girls,
Yeah.
because that's natural.
Yeah, Toys R Us or whatever toy distributor out there. Well, no, they're still around. The whatever toy distributor out there that has a store, they're still going to have boys and girls aisles. They're not going to eliminate that. They're not going to eliminate Barbies and just put them randomly in the store. That's not how stores work.
I might be stupid, but didn't they change the word doll to action figure because of the reasoning that they didn't want, boys to think, ew, dolls are for girls?
Really? Oh,
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I've heard.
Because the
of
thing
it.
is that the action figures had more functions much more early on than most dolls had.
Well, yeah, I don't deny that, but I was just saying that, well, wasn't the name changed basically because they didn't want to associate, they didn't want their G.I. Joes or Transformers to associate with Barbie's new, I don't know, fashionista.
No idea.
Yeah.
When you have G.I. Joes are like basically soldier toys, and those come from wargaming initially, and there it was just game pieces and figurines. So you wouldn't even call them dolls.
I remember playing with both as a kid when I went to my cousins. They, a lot of girls and one boy, and we played with everything. So we had fun, whatever the imagination we had at the time. So we watched movies, we played games, we ran around, we went swimming. It was fun. We just did whatever we could do during our days. And Barbies were there sometimes, and sometimes we had G.I. Joes.
Yeah, there's also a difference between how girls and boys play with those types of toys, with especially with the baby doll that girls like in the early years. The baby doll is more of a passive toy, like it's just there, and then the girl cares for it like a mother. It's playing mother, and the toys for boys, they're playing with them much more actively. They're playing out adventures and stories. So even giving them different names makes sense in that, because there is much more action involved.
All right, let's keep going.
With Hot Wheels and Nerf guns. So isn't it counterintuitive to gatekeep men from a franchise just because its cast and themes are very female-centric? It's not only regressive, but also toxic.
All right, no one's saying
Using their language against them.
Yeah, I don't like his terminology just because I don't understand. Regressive. Everyone played with Nerf guns; they were fun. Yeah, I don't. Girls love Nerf guns. Everyone loved Nerf guns. I don't know what the big deal was.
Guns are the great equalizer.
Yeah.
When you deny men the ability to explore and experience feminine things, you force them to double down on traditionally masculine views and behaviors.
Not necessarily. What are you talking about? If
what he's doing is framing it in a way that these feminist radicals could understand. He's using their logic against them.
I think, but this
that
is
doesn't mean that it's necessarily completely correct or infallible what he's saying, but he's just using their logic against them.
Yeah.
The logic of all these weirdos is flawed, massively flawed, but it's internally consistent within their own heads. So in order to get to them, the best thing, or at least one thing that you can try that can have some success, is to use their logic against them to make them question, does this even make sense? Because it's falling apart, and now the thing that I'm doing is going against what I thought I was for.
Right.
That's the idea.
But this guy's not doing that. He actually believes that. I don't think he's making up some story to get the people who are on the left or whatever SJWs say, oh, okay, yeah, I see what he's saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I don't think he's doing that.
Yeah, I also don't think he's doing it consciously, but he is seeing the flaw in logic.
I don't know.
Maybe it takes more for him to actually go to the elevation where he sees the whole of it being bullshit.
I think that's.
But now you could say he's doing it still from the inside of believing some of these things to be good.
Maybe if he was already there, but I don't think he's acting subconsciously and then making, because these are pretty nuanced.
So that's just
points.
what you do when you don't understand the topic fully. Then you still give the benefit of the doubt. Like he believes that feminism was actually doing anything good.
Yeah, he actively believes that one, but that's because I think he's been saying everything honestly so far.
Yeah,
so
but if you go from the premise that you believe that feminism did good things, then you cannot see that this is all bullshit and will inevitably lead to contradiction. That feminism is actually just about taking things away from men and giving women more and more free, not just freedoms but privileges.
That's his weird assumption of what feminism did, and allowing people to be open with their feelings. That's kind of a weird. You could say the feminine aspect of masculine.
That was rather a trick. It was rather a trick of feminism, because what always happened when men actually did that around feminists, they got laughed at.
Really?
Oh, you wimp! You wimp! Your emotions, your problems. That's usually what you hear from these unempathetic psychos.
I think the women just want to hang out.
And if you don't do that, you are just an emotionless, stone-like man. That is the problem. But if you show if you actually let out your emotions through that stony barrier, then you're just a wimp who gets laughed at by the same people.
I just think it was the single women who don't have dates and don't have fun, and they want to be involved. Say, I want to do what guys do, and it's like, okay, here's an axe, here, throw at the wall. Here's zip lining, go crazy. Like, just do the thing that you would have done if you were you had a boyfriend or on a date, because no one wanted to date you for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know what the social dynamic is, reasoning behind women believing in this stuff. But I don't
Feminism is mainly driven by jealousy and immaturity.
Maybe.
Because we see the comments that came up. Most of these people making those comments are in their teens. We are constantly arguing with teenagers and little kids on the internet and take them seriously when all we should do is sit them down on the quiet stairs.
Well, I'm
How dare you!
I'm sure some men are more open with their feelings as a result of women being more open or more mature, let's say, in allowing men to do that. I think that's fine. But I still don't think that's causing men to be more like women.
Oh, yeah, but that was the right women did allow that in the right places.
Right.
Because there is a time for that. There's a time and place for that. But it's not out in the open public space where everyone can see all the time.
Yeah, I know. Alrighty. Anyway, back to his interesting interpretation of boys and girls playing with boys and girls' toys.
It's ironic when people blame the failures of modern women in cinema on sexist men, when men aren't even invited to these spaces without being demonized. when AAA gaming companies refuse to make their games with female leads, claiming they won't sell unless it stars a man, this bias gets reinforced by women-exclusive spaces.
Interesting. I assume he's referring to EA.
I don't remember that part.
It was.
I have heard about that. I don't know if it's exactly true or not about the logic behind it.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider sold so shitty. It was a it completely bombed. Bayonetta as well.
Dino
Man,
Crisis, Metroid, yeah, all these amazing games.
But one of the things that I will say probably helps us point a little bit is the fact that nowadays we have quite a bit of a lot of female leads that are kind of shit characters.
Yeah, but
that's what feminism brought us. Shit written women, and that is why these things don't sell. Because these games are shit, because they're either written like shit, the gameplay is mediocre at best. Like, nobody wants to play that. That's the problem. They're written like shit. The old characters, the old female characters, were awesome. Everybody loved them.
Yeah, this is like before 2014 with Anita Sarkeesian, and we had females that were attractive and powerful and amazing and did all kinds of cool stuff. And then we saw what was the not the melon head, but that redheaded girl in the sequel. She in that techno future where it's tribal and there's dinosaurs and she has this bow and arrow.
Are you talking about Ark Evolved?
I know what you mean. No.
It's a third
with the mecha dinosaurs.
Yeah. In the first game, she looked awesome and she had these cool weapons. And the second game, she looked like a frumpy
goblin.
Her face was all like stretched.
Troll.
Like, what happened? Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
Yeah, and the design was like, ugh. And they should have done a change. They're doing a change to She-Hulk. Did you notice that? They're redesigning She-Hulk.
I've heard about it, but what they do to her?
They made her look more like an actual girl, which is nice. So whether that's good or bad, I don't know, because I don't understand She-Hulk. I never read the comics. But
I like that Horizon Zero Dawn was the game that like everyone forgot about because Elden Ring was released like a week after that. So
great.
They were like, anyway, let's play some Elden Ring.
Yeah.
No Horizon Zero menstruation.
Didn't Horizon Zero Dawn get into like a shit fit with Breath of the Wild or something, trying to review bomb it?
Really?
Or was that?
No, like I didn't know about that.
On Metacritic?
Fans of it. It was either that or another game that was released.
Okay.
Like if the first one, you mean? Because I think the first one released the same time.
Yeah, no,
well, that can't work.
There's so many great games, and I think Elden Ring is going to just take over the awards for this year. It's just engulfed the past 2 months when it came out.
I don't even see how that makes sense because both of these were console exclusives for their respective consoles.
Right. Yeah.
So what's review bombing gonna do? It's bullshit.
It's the same with Diablo.
Rather than
like Diablo Immortal, like it's a fine game, but people don't like the business practice or the business model. And
it's absolutely
review bombing is
ridiculous.
basically mainly from salty fanboys that just want to bitch about a
Yeah.
game that they haven't played.
Yeah, it depends because people played Mass Effect 3 and they bombed the shit out of that, but that's after like the first year, and then after that people loved it. So it depends, and that's because of the DLCs they gave it and all the things that fans like about the game came out more.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Yeah, and
by the way,
and
I
right now they're
rewind,
also reframing
because I accidentally played it a little bit.
And now they're reframing the term review bombing also to only review bombing when it's against stuff that the left likes. When they do it to other things, that's just legitimate criticism.
Yeah, it's hard to say because Diablo. Did the left even care? I don't think so.
If I remember
not
correctly, Bethesda got review bombed because they disabled reviews on Fallout 76. Well, that spread to their other games.
Oh, really? Okay.
But when we say the thing is, the term review bombing initially meant that there is a flagging campaign where people just go out and deliberately in an organized fashion, somewhat organized fashion, get together and give something negative reviews, usually without connection to the actual to any actual critique about for example, about the game, like not complaining about the gameplay or story, but instead because the company did a bad thing, or some developer of the company said a bad thing on Twitter. And that is usually done by SJWs. Now, the term is just like all the other words, diluted so much that it means nothing. Because when it's done against products that the SJWs like, they say, it's being review bombed, because they see a conspiracy and organization behind everything everyone else does, because they're projecting their own behavior where they actually do that themselves. So when it organically happens against them with legitimate criticism, they just call they're conspiring against us, they're bullying us with no legitimate criticism. When it's actually real criticism. Like when you say Diablo Immortal got review bombed, that's not the case. Diablo Immortal got a lot of really bad reviews. That is not the same thing.
Right.
Got a lot of bad reviews because it's shitty business practice.
Right. And I understand that, but even I would call that a bad form of review bombing, because they're just analyzing one element of the game, and the game is fine. The gameplay, the story is, as far as Diablo goes, there's nothing wrong with it. It's pretty normal.
Well, the thing is, when an asteroid hits you, you can complain that you're being bombed, but there's nobody bombing you. It's just an asteroid hitting you. It's a force of nature. Not an enemy military.
No. This is a bunch of fans jumping on the bandwagon because they feel they're not getting like all the unlocks for the.
No, most people you have to drive to a point until they really get their ass up and even write a review. Most people never bother with that.
Oh yeah, but
positive
on
or
Metacritic,
negative.
it's not hard. It's really not hard. You just put the 1 out of 5.
I know. It's also not hard on Steam.
Yeah.
What I mean is, most people don't bother writing reviews. There are some who just do that because they like doing it, but most people who play, they will write maybe 1 or 2 reviews in their lifetime when it is about something really exceptional. And it's more likely that it's something really bad than it is something really good, because we notice the bad stuff more than the good. So it's more likely that people who just write 1 or 2 reviews in their lifetime will do a negative one, because how the hell did this product insult me so much? This is completely broken, it's unplayable, or it's unwatchable, etc.
Yeah, but that's different, because we have examples of that with Fallout 76 and Anthem and Andromeda and
Diablo 3.
Diablo 3 is a weird one, yeah, because that was, some people didn't like the changes, and then some of the servers were down. Yeah, there's a lot of.
When it came out, it was garbage. It was a complete garbage game, completely misdesigned.
And here I am thinking that modern gamers are a little bit spoiled, considering all the bad garbage that was around during the Atari stuff and all the other.
Oh god, we're totally spoiled now. It's just the nuance.
You're jumping around too much.
It's just
the Atari game crash was its completely own story.
Well,
and gamers today, how are they spoiled? They never knew of that stuff.
The games that are reviewed, there's so much nuance that when you do read a review that's negative and big and long and detailed, you're like, oh, okay, now we understand. And I would imagine most of the other people just don't articulate that in the same way. They have the same feelings. They know what they are trying to say, and they say, oh, this sucks, the gameplay sucks, and they give you a 1 or whatever, and off they go, because why would they care? Why would they leave more time on something they don't like anymore? So every game has its own nuance and its own problems, and every mountain could be a molehill and vice versa. So it really is subjective once you get to the details, but everyone will then say, yeah, these are exactly what I believe as well. But their scoring is like 4 out of 10 or 1 out of 10. It's always in the negative. So anyway, let's get back to his weird hand motions and feminism.
I want to say that I rewind the video a little bit because I accidentally played it.
That's okay.
I apologize for that.
That's okay. Let's keep going.
Viewpoint, we should be encouraging men to understand a woman's perspective, and God forbid, explore their own femininity.
Oh god, no, dude. There's a joke, a thousands years old joke, and that is, once you have mastered all of philosophy, all of science that there has been to that point, and the old hermit then decides, I will retire now onto into my mountain retreat and now just meditate on the mysteries that is women. Because that is the one thing nobody ever figured out to understand. Because maybe there is nothing to understand. Maybe it's just immature chaos. That's the problem.
Well, I want to know
the entire problem.
what he means by men's femininity. I know we use that a lot. There's lots of nuance between masculine and feminine.
Well,
So
if
right
I had
now,
to
this is
argue for
just-
what
this
he
is
was
just-
saying, I'd probably say that he's talking about men having traits or men just having hobbies that aren't exactly overly masculine or somewhat feminine. Like, okay, I'm into theater, or I want to go into theater, but, well, it's not exactly considered the most masculine thing in the world, especially when a lot of the people in theater are the whiniest fucking bitches I've ever heard. Oh my god. A 30-minute talking to because I made a joke about China being hell to live in because of poor conditions, and somehow I become racist. I am still not going to be happy from that.
Well, I'm just curious what he means by that, because you could say ballet is feminine, but no, ballet is for everyone. It's just, do you like that level of athleticism, and can you carry a tune and dance to it and deal with all your joint pain and musculature and exercise and discipline? That's a lot of effort, and you're going to hurt yourself.
Which is
the
what I
worst
said.
you can do to your posture is starting ballet.
Yeah.
Which is what I said earlier when I was asking, isn't traditional gender values, like, or not gender values, but gender identity roles somewhat sexist because it forces stuff like, I don't know, ballet to be primarily for girls and all that?
I don't know, because we're talking about if we take you out of this society and we throw everyone into the wilderness, like, you're going to default to, okay, men are going to be hunting and looking for meat, and women are also going to be hunting and gathering, but not as violently, and all the traditional roles that will come from that. So is it just liking feminine stuff? There's lots of guys who like kids stuff and they haven't grown out of it. Or like, what's the show, the brony culture? What is that called? My Little Pony? Like,
yeah, My Little Pony Generation
honestly,
4 actually was pretty decent, not going.
Honestly, I'm pissed at this point at the word traditional. These are just statistical averages of what the sexes prefer to do, to engage in, to be interested in. That doesn't make it traditional.
Yeah, you look at the character.
And it's completely sensible that when your kid isn't doing anything, that the first things you try to get your kid that doesn't get its mouth open of what it actually wants to do, because it probably wants to do nothing, is to try the statistical averages for the sex. Like, try out some sport, try out some craft, try out this or that. But you will start with things that are just statistically more likely, and you go that by reading up on scientific studies. You do that by intuition of what your culture shows you, what you know others are doing. That doesn't mean it's traditional.
Well, I
It just
remember
means it's more likely. And it's the feminists, the socialists, who always go on about, toxic gender stereotypes, while they are the ones enforcing them the most.
Well, I find it funny when we talked about Kanji for Persona 4, everyone saw him as this bisexual gay person. It's like, no, he just liked cute things. That was his whole thing. Mm-hmm. And people read into that. It's like, no, he's actually into guys. It's like, well, that was the shadow.
He was afraid to be seen as gay.
Yeah, that was the distorted shadow version of himself, not the real self that he cared about. And we see him later in the future. He's just a normal guy. He was just now accepting of.
Speak about Naoto.
So
yeah, no, Naoto was a girl, but no one could figure it out until someone less sensitive got under her skin and went, oh, okay, yeah, and she was open about her femininity. So with Kanji, like, he just likes doing like crafts and making cute things, and there's nothing. Guys make cute stuff all the time. Grown adult men write stories for children and make children's books. All this stuff.
Effectively, what the SJWs did to Kanji is that the thing that he feared people would do, which is see him as gay,
right? Yeah,
for liking the cute and artsy things.
And he had that phobia, and it manifested itself in this shadow version of himself. And people think he's gay.
And the SJWs say, you are gay.
Right.
You must be gay.
Exactly.
Because. And this is exactly what Kanji feared. Like, if with SJWs around, Kanji would have never gotten out. And this is the thing, is that Kanji is actually the not gender stereotype, the dreaded one that the SJWs go on about, but he is actually breaking with that rule. But they force the gay gender stereotype onto him.
Right.
Because, we see it in you, you must be gay. You now go and do anal.
And and the great thing about Persona is everyone who's played it knows that the Shadow Realm or the TV world or whatever is the other universe is all a metaphor. It's all this idea of projection from yourself, of what yourself is or what is your persona, and what are the creatures of your mind that you have to fight. And that's all metaphorical for these characters and their actual stories. Every single character has their own real world problem they have to deal with, and it's manifested in that world that is imaginatively enough made that way to be fought and conquered in a JRPG style environment. And I think that's brilliant. I think that's a great way of expressing a story by having this threshold that each character has to pass and deal with their own little hero's journey, and then come back and realize what that means. So it's such a classic form of storytelling done in a very smart, quaint way with this gigantic bestiary, and creation and crafting and all kinds of good stuff. And of course the waifus and the husbandos and all that stuff. That is fun to play with. But anyway, let's get back to the video. I don't know what he means by these traditional things that men have to identify with as a female, or females have to associate with. If you like stuff, his first part was great. Like that, we should have stopped right there with gatekeeping, because if you like something, you like it. It doesn't really matter. It has nothing to do with being male or female.
Quite honestly, I remember waking up some mornings to see Sailor Moon air after the 90s cartoon Gargoyles, and noticing just how dynamic and appealing the art style was in comparison to what I was used to seeing. It had women, but they were doing things that were cooler and more exciting than your typical superhero fare. This is while I was still in that childish cootie phase, so the concept of looting the Sailor Guardians didn't come until I hit puberty, and even then I was very naive to the wonderful world of age. To be fair, I don't think...
What did you say?
The wonderful world of age? What is that?
I don't know.
Growing up, maybe? Changing? Growing? Puberty? Having hormones? I don't know. What is the wonderful... I've never heard of the wonderful world of age.
So are we going to ignore the fact he said looting the Sailor girls?
Yeah, but that's what guys do anyway. Even if you were a kid, you're like, oh, they look cute.
Yeah, the girls go, they are pretty. The guys go, oh, cute.
Yeah, why do you think
It's
guys
just
were
like
watching
if you're a normal person, you just like don't talk about them in public. But
yeah,
he's a strange guy.
Yeah, guys who watch
all these
the
people
moon.
who just went over how they and who they fab about whom and how, they're all weird people.
Yeah, all the guys that I recall, even at that age, were like, who's the best girl in Sailor Moon? And there would be like discussions of, well, Lita's the tallest, but that's like 5'6" for Japanese standards. She has the normal hair color. You had like, well, one of them is the representation of love, and she's really cute and sweet. She's like Serena, but not an airhead. And then you have Amy, who's really smart and also cute. And she's your standard smart girl from Japan. And she's really nice. And you just keep going, and that's what the discussions were, because that's what guys would do to watch. They would watch Sailor Moon and say, oh yeah, she was awesome. Ray was like fighting around, and she had her whatever heels on, because I think she's the only one with high heels. They all have boots except for her for some reason. So there's lots of sex appeal from high school girls, of course there is. So
it's just the fact that they're canonically underage that kind of weirds me out.
Sure.
You mean like all teenagers?
Yeah, well, anyway.
Teenagers have teenage relationships with other teenagers. It's normal.
Okay, here we go.
This TikToker was trying to gatekeep men from appreciating a female perspective. Right in the video itself, she's expressing a disdain for the way that men treasure Hatsune Miku with eyes of lust.
Ooh.
It's not the fact that a man likes Miku, but rather the way in which he likes Miku. While a little girl might enjoy Miku as a role model, a grown man probably enjoys admiring.
That's good. This with this footage, that's the good role model.
A singer, I guess.
Yeah, wait, no, in this attire on top.
Oh, I have no idea.
What do you think? Did you think this to the end? Did you think this through to the end? Because why do women dress up cute? For themselves? That's what some tell themselves. That's what some believe. But it's part of our dating game to reproduce and get more kids. Ultimately.
Well,
because why do you think that many women after menopause they just lose all their beauty?
I will say
because they don't need it anymore.
I will say
there was no evolutionary incentive, or well, no. There's no way for evolutionary pressure to create that.
There's not a lot of women that could wear the halter top these days because of whatever body types they have. So if you're gonna have a healthy looking girl who can sing and dance and play the guitar, that's pretty amazing.
Say there's a difference between body type and being obese.
What's a halter top
because your
again?
body type is hidden under your layers of fat.
Well, no, but sometimes the fat is just vestigial, has nothing to do with being obese. It's just because you're a woman. So it's not a
but then it's really just then it's a body type issue, yeah.
So what's a halter top again?
Okay, so any kind of clothing that holds up the body, it's just sort of like its own bra, I guess you can call it. And it sometimes has a midriff and sometimes it doesn't. How do you describe it? It's a strap that's sort of connected to the front, and it's fastened by the neck, I believe. So it leaves the stomach or the back bare, depending.
It's a top that has halters.
Right, but I have to explain what it is, what a halter is.
You're telling a guy that knows jack shit about fashion about a halter that I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, if you see a girl in the
Then
summertime,
you don't know what words mean.
And no, that's fine. Not everyone knows these things. Like I don't even know what a sarong
No one knows
was.
what a halter is?
Well, no, we don't know women's things. We're not women. We don't know all these things. I had to talk to girls and ask them like.
It's a thing that holds things.
Oh yeah, no, I know that, but in general. Well, a halter top, like
it is, and it is written like the German word for to hold something.
That is very great to tell like native English speakers what a German word is. We're gonna know that.
How do you? It's so close to the English word. Like it's like what the fuck?
So just imagine a shirt without a back that can go above the navel, and it's pretty much holding itself up. So.
Oh, I've seen those on feminists. Granted, the back blew out, but still.
The stomach blew out too. Yeah, you don't want to watch.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you don't want to watch those. Those aren't. So if I see a girl like this, I'm like, okay, she's got the body for it. She can dance. She's got skills, and she can sing and play the guitar at the. This is all at the same time. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say not the greatest role model, but something to aspire to for sure.
In the realm of skills, but that's usually not what girls are looking for.
It depends. Some girls do catch on to those things. They want to be musicians. They want.
The good ones. The good ones do.
Well, yeah. That's
the bad ones, they just see the look, want to emulate the look, but they don't want to get the skills because that is actually work.
Well, I see nothing wrong with girls wanting to look like other girls that are more attractive, or that's what's hot. I don't see that being a big deal.
How about that? That's where we go. That's what's hot. What does hot mean? Hot means attractive.
Fashionable.
Means attracting mates. Means it is to be it is sexual. You are sexualizing yourself in order to attract a mate. That means men looking at you is the goal, not to be condemned.
The aesthetics is associated with sexuality when we're talking about that sort of fashion, yes. And women do want that naturally anyway, but they also want to learn how to control that and experiment with that, and that's totally natural. So it's fine. And I don't see this as being lewd or perverse in any way. So I'm not...
It's a natural game between the sexes of our species.
Well, I just mean in this sense of entertainment. I wouldn't say this is...
But that's why we like pretty things, men and women alike. And we both agree, both sexes agree, that pretty women are pretty to look at. And there's usually, it can just be, so there's this, beauty is attractive. You can do that through direct sex appeal. You can do that through aesthetic play, aesthetic, like hiding certain things, like it just hinting at certain things, and then you play around with ornamentation and stuff.
Sure, and you could say anything related to the body is sexual because they are sexual objects. We all are all like this. All mammals are like that. But we have to make the distinction between aesthetics, like clothing, which is not supposed to be sexual. It's just clothing. You put your stuff on your
So it
body.
depends on that entirely depends on the clothing.
Sure, but that's what I mean. If you don't have this provocative clothing, which is like negligees and dinner wear or whatever you call evening wear.
Your everyday working clothes, they are there to just protect you against hazards.
Exactly.
And just
Yeah.
and like when you're clean, when you're doing your chores at home and clean, whether you're man or woman, it makes sense to have some protective clothing on in order to not get your cleaning chemicals or whatever or dirt on you. Same for cooking in certain instances. That is usually not looking very sexy because that's completely irrelevant to the purpose of the clothing.
Right, but even if
Casual clothing is a mix
right.
of it in general.
Even if it was aesthetically pleasing, that's the distinction we make between that and sexually attractiveness. So we don't need to say, yeah, there's no connection, but we can say, yeah, this is aesthetics, and this is where we say, okay, that's too much, or like we don't start describing Miku as a sexual object by this performance. Like you could do with White Wall if you want, but I don't think this is harming anyone. I don't think this is hurting anyone. And role models is a whole other topic, whether women should be doing that at that age. But I don't see this as a problem so far. So for either sex, it's fine.
Their appreciation for the character comes from different places. I'm sure a girl attending a My Little Pony convention is going for different reasons than a brony, for instance. But you know what? Tough. It's inevitable that heterosexual men will always view women as both autonomous people and potential sexual partners. A guy's admiration for a woman will...
I don't think we're looking at Miku and going, yeah, we could totally have sex. I think they know it's not real. So
Yeah, very breathable.
Calm down, son. It's just a drawing.
yeah, we don't go, oh my God, she's so hot. It's like,
If
Oh,
anything,
yeah,
it's
no.
feeding
her-
escapism for
beautiful
like all
blue
media.
hair
is.
and
People like that just that sees Miku and just go gaga over her and just talk about how beautiful she is. I'm fully expecting there to be a stupid copy pasta about how beautiful her feet are or something.
well, I do like the fact that you can love an idol for being an idol, not because you're sexually attracted to them, but because she is singing songs. She's a symbol of happiness and celebration, and you can do that for your musicians you like. Like if David Bowie's awesome. Anything David Bowie I want to listen to, and I don't have to be aroused by David Bowie. It's just he's David Bowie. He's amazing.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty straightforward to love those artists that are doing the best of the thing, or the thing that you think is the best, or whatever in your style of appreciation of art that you like. So Bjork or Weird Al Yankovic or whatever, doesn't matter. It's like, wow, the guy who has really great creativity and does it and expresses it. And he's cool. And that's his life. It's awesome. So same with Miku. You like her music, you like her dance moves, makes you feel good. That's all it is. That's all it has to be. So
often be accompanied by an attraction to her. A straight woman might not know what that's like, but a lesbian probably does.
What?
And when it comes to Miku, one of her most iconic songs is themed around a lesbian romance with Megurine Luka. The idea that a woman could be aroused by Miku isn't that outrageous. And you know what's funny? That song, Magnet, was written and composed by a man. He's an artist.
Oh, here we see the evidence. Okay, for one, yes, this is an argument that we've brought up a lot about why are the feminists erasing sexy women? Don't they care about the lesbians? And here we have a shitty lesbian teenager, probably, or someone who wishes to still be that young, and wants everything just for herself. This is an asshole.
Yeah, but I mean,
all these people with these flags behind them are assholes.
A lot of these singers who are women had male songwriters. That's nothing new. Like, that's not a big deal. You could look at all the real actual singers like Celine Dion and Mariah Carey. They had male people who knew how to write music, and then she just performed it, and that was that. So that's nothing new. That's pretty natural, actually. Anyone can write music, guys. It has nothing to do with your gender. It's just poetry, really.
Girls
And
gender, non-conforming people only. Fuck off. Kill yourself.
And I had the unfortunate knowledge that there are stupid Hatsune Miku copy pastas that made my eyes want to burn.
Okay.
All right.
Yep, I just saw them now and I want to cry.
Just to get it out of the way. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're almost half done. It's a good video. I don't mind it. He's doing okay. Not perfect, but that's fine.
Named me or Ryusei P, who also sings his own covers of Vocaloid songs. Also, did you know that Miku herself was made by a man? Sasaki Wataru was the developer at Krypton most attributed to Miku's creation, and one of the factors he considered during development.
Yeah, but don't you know, men only exist to create things for women.
Was Japan's rise in herbivore men, who preferred solitude and fantasy to actual marriage or dating in public.
Herbivore men? What?
I never heard that word before. Used in this
I'm
context.
now picturing...
Is this referring to the grass eater movement in Japan?
What? The grass...
I've forgotten the details, what that means. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah, okay.
I'm now picturing...
Yeah, the guys who have shunned human interaction or female companionship and like marry their waifu or whatever, their video game or this or that. I think I've heard of that sort of movement.
Wait, are you talking about a guy that actually married a virtual thing?
Yeah. Those kinds of guys that they just say this is what I like. I get catharsis from this sort of thing more than I would with a person. It's cleaner, it's faster, it's cheaper, all this stuff that we would argue that a virtual partner or an AI partner would be beneficial to us over. Something like that. I think that's what he's trying to say, if that's a movement.
The grass eaters, that's, from what I'm just scrolling over. It's related to the falling sex drive of men in Japan.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That's weird. Why do they call it that, though? The grass eaters.
Just the first thing I just went over is first article I found. A new from 2012, a new survey reveals that the Japanese national sex drive continues to plummet. The survey conducted by the Japan Family Planning Association found that 36% of males aged 16 to 19 said that they had no interest in or even despised sex. That's almost a 19% increase since the survey was last conducted in 2008, 4 years prior. If that's not bad enough, Wall Street Journal reports that a whopping 59% of female respondents aged 16 to 19 said they were uninterested in or averse to sex, a near 12% increase since 2008. It's the rise of the grass eaters. Many commentators in the Japanese and international media have laid the problem squarely at the feet of Soshoku Danshi, herbivore men, a term coined by pop culture columnist Maki Fukasawa in 2006. It refers to Japanese young men who have rejected their culture's traditional definition of masculinity and seemingly eschew relationships with the opposite sex as part. CNN spoke to a Midori Saida, a 24-year-old Japanese woman who described herbivore men as flaky and weak. We like manly men, she said. We are not interested in those boys at all. Countries that fail to harness the most powerful motivational force in the world will die out. Japan's population is already shrinking. This is not a culture that will survive the digital age, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is basically it's cyber. It's not MGTOW. it's not MGTOW, because this affects both sexes. And this is why Shinzo Abe, in the last couple of years, advocated for marrying, having families, and having kids. And why Spy Family is apparently it's inspiring to actually do that, because it shows how wonderful it is to have a family. And and I think it was today that Mr. Abe got assassinated, attacked.
Yeah, he got George Floyd.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
Well, a former prime minister of Japan that was very well known.
Oh, wait, I think I've heard about that because someone posted that on my server.
Yeah, and he had been advocating for that and was apparently shot by as far as what I could see so far, what was revealed so far, by a NEET, some non-employed, out of education loner. So maybe he was frustrated over Abe pushing for having relationships. I don't know what happened there. It's a weird case.
Basically, an otaku just decided to shoot somebody because he was mad at the world or something.
But not just somebody.
That's weird. What I heard is that he was ex-Navy, so it's weird to have an ex-Navy guy being a NEET.
Okay. So this is just the first day, so things aren't clear what actually is the background, etc., and so on.
Anyway, about Miku.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we're really trying to pinpoint a target audience for Miku, while she wasn't made for the express purpose of being looted, her software was aimed at the kinds of men who are typically known for creating and enjoying lusty waifu. If anything, it's the men who should be saying that Miku wasn't made for women. But thankfully, nobody's actually doing that, and I think we have Miku herself to thank for it. The entire point of Hatsune Miku, as opposed to a real idol, is that she can be literally anything an artist wants her to be. That is to say, she has no canon character traits, and even when you play the only Project Diva game with a story mode, it's so abysmally generic that you can't say anything objective about her life. Thus, whether she's cute, cool, evil, funny, sexy, gay, straight, childish, or mature, is all up to the individuals making her, and there's no rule saying she can't be all of those at the same time. In that regard, she may have had a target audience for sales, at least at first, but she clearly has no demographic for her appeal, and that's the lesson we should be taking from all of this. You don't have to be within a work's intended demographic to enjoy it, and you certainly don't have to enjoy it the same way it was intended to be enjoyed. On a wholesome note, there's this kind old lady on YouTube under the name Food for Dogs, who got into gaming after hitting some real rough times in life. She especially enjoys JRPGs for their escapism, and she's probably a bigger fan of many RPGs than the Japanese teenagers they were designed for. I can almost guarantee there are things that I love about those games that she doesn't care for, and vice versa. I'm gonna go out on a limb.
She was young once too. She maybe remembers that, contrary to some people.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And say she isn't as turned on by Velvet and Tales of Berseria as I am. But within that sphere, I'm also certain there are plenty of places where our fandom overlaps. A brilliant example of this might be the TV series Supernatural. On the surface, it's the story of two brothers hunting various crazy creatures.
How did we get to Supernatural?
So, I'm just gonna ask it flat out. Doesn't Supernatural have one of the most toxic fandoms possible?
I don't know. I've never
I
interacted.
don't know.
I think
I don't
he's
care
about
about
to
it.
go for that.
I've heard that somehow they were worse than the Steven Universe fandom, and I
that's
just
hard.
want to know.
No, well,
That's
like,
difficult because those guys, or girls mainly, drove people to suicide.
Or
well,
tried to. They attempted it.
with Supernatural, it's been going. Well, it finished now, but it's been going on for like 15 years or seasons, and there's so much stuff. There's so many stories, and people are just used to it. And it hits that sort of Judeo-Christian mythology element that I think America likes, and the monster of the week sort of thing. And then there's all the shippers, I think, that talk about the brothers hooking up, which I don't know where that came from, but that's obviously what people are going to do anyway. Which I don't think that's why they're watching it, though. That's just their fan fiction. That's just their fueling their own fetish, which is fine. You could fantasize whatever you like. But I don't think that's why they watch it, though.
They never keep it to themselves. They always have to make the world must accept their shipping, their fetish.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the top results for being talking about fan fiction, and I already hate this.
Yeah, no, it's funny because in the show they actually talk about that. The actual fandom of the two brothers. And they're like, why would they do that? So they're aware of it, and they tie that stuff into the show, at least for an episode. So it's not a great show, honestly. It's not a smart show. It's a dramatic show. It's a fantasy show. And it plays with those concepts of as I said, Judeo-Christian mythology that you also got watching Buffy and Angel. And this was sort of along the side with like Superman or sorry, Smallville at the time. So, you had all these shows where superpowers and this and that, and then you had Supernatural, which just kept going and going. So, yeah, no.
The Days of Our Lives, basically.
It's basically a soap opera that involves demons and angels and other weird stuff happening, like magic and creatures and devils and this and that. So it appeals to those little mythologies we've got, but then so does Marvel and all of its stories. So it's the same concepts, just in different scale.
Each episode typically introduces a new type of evil being from legend, and the Winchesters ultimately find ways to overcome it. In that regard, it's a perfectly serviceable action suspense series. However, the people most into the show tend to be shippers, who watch each episode with anticipation that two of the main characters will get together in a gay romance.
Figured it out.
Yeah, I don't think that's the most people who watch the show. I really don't think that.
Yeah, I disagree as well.
Yeah, the passionate, crazy ones are on the extremes. That every group has that. And maybe they're the most vocal online, but that's not the majority of the people.
They're the horrible, obnoxious fans, if you want to even call them that, because they don't care about the actual content of a show or a movie. They only care about the potential relationships of characters.
Sometimes.
They don't...
Yeah.
What I've seen,
Yeah.
they never talk about the plot. They never talk about any difficulties in the story. They never talk about any logic, sci-fi stuff, power bullshit. None of that. It's only ever who fucks whom. Or who should fuck whom. That's all they talk about. And they call everyone toxic who disagrees with them, and they are exactly that. They are the most poison-filled people that are on this planet. Is maybe a bit of an exaggeration. Within media, within being a fan, within audiences, these are the worst people. The only thing that goes beyond that is actually going out and murdering someone for not agreeing with what they want.
All right.
I've heard of legit an assassination attempt within the Undertale fandom one time. I was watching the RPG Monger's video, and he detailed someone giving a freaking cupcake or something to an artist who drew some kind of stupid art, and that cupcake had some fucking nails in it, or something like that.
The cupcake of death. Yeah, that sounds like a borderline girl might have made it.
Nails, the cheap man's poison. They couldn't figure out how to make actual poison or what was deadly, but let's put a needle in an apple. See how that works. Like,
I think it was more of a they wanted her to feel pain, or just wanted her to suffer instead of actually.
It's silly.
Still fucking toxic.
Yeah.
The emotional subtext and desire for validation wind up being front and center for those fans, whereas others just have fun with Scooby-Doo crossovers and clever shit like that. It's a show lots of women enjoy because its male stars are very muscular and attractive. Thus, when I sit down and watch Supernatural with my wife, I often feel we're each getting something different out of the experience, and that's totally fine. Same goes.
Can you imagine talking to your wife in this voice? Dear, how do you do? I'm a guy who likes anime.
Maybe this is like a character that he does. Like, this isn't him in real life.
I hope to God.
He wants to separate himself so much from his real life persona. I mean, I do that as well.
I know, but it's just so.
We all do that.
It's so
It's a stage
funny.
reflection.
Yeah, no, the way he talks, like, can you imagine in real life? Like, I'm gonna go get a beer, and you may not go with me.
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna...
great. Just imagine him with Victorian-style clothes, or maybe some, if it needs to be, some steampunk stuff, and living in a grand mansion that it's like full of the style, and he's standing there with a cane and says these exact things. Then it kind of fits, doesn't it?
Remind me of that guy who he's a blonde-haired anime buff on YouTube as well, and he talks about anime, of course, and he loves certain genres. He has that weird jacket, and he snaps his fingers a lot and does scene transitions.
Maximilian, dude.
Linkara?
Is it Maximilian? I don't know his name. But yeah, no, it reminds me of that, like that sort of level of bombastic delivery, like over the top. So I'm hoping this is just his presentation, because it's like, dude, just take it down a notch, just please.
I'm not gonna make fun of the guy's voice, mainly because I know my voice is probably just as annoying. I will say that I'm mainly gonna try to focus on the words he's gonna say,
I know, yeah.
because I don't want to feel like a hypocrite.
For Miku or Sailor Moon. While a straight chick might not be like, damn, Miku's hot, and even find some of the outfits too risque, there's going to be some common ground between her love for Miku and mine. Because of that, fellow Miku fans usually don't tear each other apart for the different things they wind up liking about her. They celebrate it. In the end, that winds up generating more content for everyone. Otherwise, that'd be like me getting pissed at other people for finding Artoria attractive. If I could be all, no, she's mine, all mine, then ironically there'd be a lot less of the artwork that made me like her in the first place. When I talk...
Was that his real voice? I don't know. It was great.
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
But basically, he's just showing very well that all these weird, obsessed shipping girls are the horrible otakus that we know as caricatures.
Basically, Fujo shits.
Yes.
I will say that potential relationships are fine, but just remember they're not actual relationships. Potential will never be actual, or are mostly never going to be actual.
Okay.
Ownership of one's fandom, I mean a fan being proud of what they like and why they like it. How a work becomes part of you, even in ways the creator may not have anticipated or wanted. What it doesn't mean is gatekeeping people from liking the same things you do, assuming they're not trying to abduct or change them. Ultimately, I want to reiterate what I say in this video's title, that Miku, and anime in general, is for everyone who happens to enjoy it. That includes the more obnoxious or toxic fans that we sometimes don't want to associate with.
Okay, just to mention that he did address his title, which we very rarely get in most of our videos, that he titles it properly and talks about it in the content of his video. So,
To be fair, the title is important when it comes to YouTube video, mainly because of the views and all that.
right. And I want the title to reflect the content, because that's what you're expecting.
Yes.
So he did that,
Yes.
thankfully.
Yes. And then
The
that is
reason
noteworthy because it's usually not the case.
Yeah, I don't want to be lied to. Exactly.
The reason why I know it's important is because I actually downloaded two YouTube extensions. It basically trying to make it that basically autofills a title, and it's designed to make it get more views or whatever. I don't know if it actually works, but I can try it.
You mean when you make a YouTube video or what?
It just does it for YouTube videos. It basically tells you like a guide list on what you need to do to get like more views or whatever.
Yeah, the keyword, the date, or a number in your title, a certain...
It's also, I think, the description and just being invested with the comments in general as well. That's important as well.
Yeah.
So I can I can understand why some people might need
You actually enjoy.
I can understand why some people might have like a clickbait title or whatever, mainly because they kind of have to in order to get views. YouTube's basically dog eat dog world.
No, there's no excuse for that. I don't give a shit. It's a shitty practice, and if you buy into it, you just legitimize it.
It's the same
If
with
everybody stopped doing it, then it would stop.
Well, right now it's right with Google. When you're talking about organic search, when you're talking about H1 tags and title tags, they have to be pretty much the same, and the content has to match those. If you don't write content to match those titles, Google's not going to like that. So you'll get docked in your page ranking, and obviously they can't do the same with video because I don't know how Google would or YouTube would scan every video for words and then reflect that in the title. That might not work perfectly. So maybe in the future they might do that, but that would require right now manual checking of the video, which I don't think anyone at YouTube has time for. So, but yeah, no, that should be a practice, and YouTube has gotten very smart in the past 4 years. So maybe it will have that capability in the future. We don't know.
So about what he said is basically, if you like it, it's made for you. If you don't like it, it's not made for you. And both is fine.
Yep.
Sometimes don't associate with. As long as you actually enjoy what creators are putting out, then you're a true fan who's not trying to ruin it for anyone else. That definitely doesn't mean we all have to agree on the same things, but it does mean we're going to have things we share in enjoying. Pushing a man out of a fandom for being thirsty is, ironically...
These fingers are freaking me out. He's just like... He's like grabbing things and pointing, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, what are you doing? You don't talk to someone like who's like a foot away from you, and he's like doing these grabbing motions and pointing at things. Like, I don't know, it feels a bit awkward.
Going to make him double down on more traditionally sexist preferences and behaviors.
What?
If looting a character is one of the ways he enjoys a fandom, let him do it. Let anyone do it regardless of gender.
So, is it bad? Like, what? You just said it was bad. Now it's good? Let me just rewind that.
I'm confused.
More traditionally sexist preferences.
Let me try one more time.
We're going to have things we share in enjoying. Pushing a man out of a fandom for being thirsty is, ironically, going to make him double down on more traditionally sexist preferences and behaviors. If
That is a weird thing to say. Traditionally sexist.
So traditionally based, yes.
I don't
Thank
know.
you.
I don't know what
Carry on.
I mean, if someone gets... It depends on really how much you push them out or how you do push them out, but if you're generally going to be like a fucking asshole and pushing out somebody, chances are they're going to double down on why they...
I want to know what he means with sexist in this context.
I don't think we will know.
It's probably just fanfics that are designed to be sexual, and it's like, hey, dude, that's fine, but don't post that in the board.
Men rarely read fan fiction.
Well, that's what I mean. There's a place for it, and it shouldn't be in other places. So you're not getting out of the fandom. You're just getting out of that online group that says you're not allowed to do that. That's all it is. It's not like we're gonna block anyone who talks about sex. It's like, no, it's in the rules. And if you do that, then those are the rules. You're not allowed here anymore.
looting a character is one of the ways he enjoys a fandom, let him do it. Let anyone do it regardless of gender. Because it's not like you have to focus on it, and it's...
There's limits to everything. It depends. If he says the group doesn't allow it, and that's fair, but then you're saying you aren't allowing it. It's like, in what context am I the moderator of some online group? Am I Twitter? Am I social media? Like, what are you talking about? Where's the thing the guy's perving over? Is it fanfic.net? Great, go for it. No one cares. Write whatever you want.
It could be something also just as bad as getting... Okay, I was on a server for a little while, and this happened, but basically what I'm saying is getting so mad somehow that somehow in your mind you have the idea to post porn in general of the Discord server that you're a mod in, which somehow happened, and I'm just thinking, what? Like, you don't do shit like that. Obviously, that would be one of the ways you don't fucking... Let me get my train of thought. Don't... What did he say again? I know what I want to say. He said... he said don't. It's all right for people to loot or whatever, right? I'm just thinking. There's obviously, like you said, there's obviously limits, and that would be another one. I'm sorry, brain scatterbrained.
Well, he's not being clear in this regard. Like he just says, you know, you can be kicked out for being lewd, but at the same time accept him. You're like, under what grounds? Like where? What conditions? So, yes, we get what he's trying to say, but we're lost because he just changed his mind, and he has to build up that foundation before he can explain himself properly. You can't just contradict yourself like that. So, anyway.
Not taking away from anything you like about a work. Rather, that increased fandom is going to promote the creation of more content all across the board, both lewd.
No, not necessarily. No, in fact, some of the artists don't like that shit from their creations. They say, we don't like doujins, we don't like fan art, we don't like crap like that. So it depends.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just having more doesn't mean it's good.
yeah, and I remember artists who wanted to stop their story, and they said, "Okay, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to let the audience vote because it's almost done, and they get to decide who the hero ends up with." So there's democratic ways of doing it, and then you can just say, "I want to do it my way," despite being so popular. I know Ichigo 100% was a rom-com that did that, and now we have Quintessential Quintuplets, which has been going on for years and years and years, and the movie just came out in May in Japan, and we have no release date yet for North America or Europe, but we already know the outcome. Like, we know who he ends up with, unless he's going to change the story in the movie, which would be weird, because they just had a second season that came out 6 years ago, and that was just an extension, like a reboot almost, of before the ending of the first season. So they just milk it again for another season, and then now they're going to do a movie, and I think that's it. After that, it should be done. That's one of the more popular rom-coms of anime that I know currently. There could be others. So I don't know. It's a business. If the publisher wants them to do more, they'll probably do more. It depends how sick and tired the creators are. Like the original creator, he's the guy who holds the rights. So maybe he could sell the rights. I don't know. It's not something that I understand very well, because to me, a writing should be begin, middle, end, and then you finish. You're done. You don't continue it. It should be its own content.
More interaction in a fandom's not always good. Just like how adding more toxic waste to a glass of water doesn't mean that isn't always good, because hey, there's more liquid in the water in the glass now.
What?
You all got what I was trying to say, right?
Well, the idea of extending something like with fan outcry, like with Sherlock Holmes, it was made that way so he could continue it by keeping the ending ambiguous. And that's good, because we got a whole lot more canon out of Edgar Allan Poe, Arthur Conan Doyle. So that's good. And yeah, he eventually got tired of it the same way Agatha Christie got tired of Poirot while she was doing her other things. So yeah, the story should exist and end. That's what writers should do. They can't go on forever. Like Berserk is, good lord, is that ever going to finish?
Yes, it's gonna finish. It's
Hope.
actually has like a very good release schedule now. It's just like the story right now is kind of annoying.
Yeah,
Has
no.
a game of
Like now it has like a 2 or 3 week schedule instead of like every once in a year.
Yeah. Oof.
I think that's like better to follow.
Don't people give Game of Thrones a lot of flack for basically still not being finished?
It won't come out. It just won't.
It will never come out
It won't.
like Game of
No.
Thrones. That is just fucking dead in the water.
Yeah, there's
I
no
think
way.
Martin is maybe one of those examples of the fan fiction, which the later seasons of the show basically were bad fan fiction, or bad fiction from non-fans, if we're being honest, with the both directors. that turned him off from finishing the book because, well, nobody liked that ending. I told them the ending, and they nobody liked. But he doesn't understand why people don't like the ending of the show, because all ham-fisted, insane, chaotic crap.
I think his passion and his age are really showing. And if you were the creator and you saw your thing that came to life on TV end the way it did, you would be furious. You would be so motivated to make your own ending properly. And he hasn't done that. And I don't know if he's dead on the inside. He just doesn't give a shit.
I understand.
Just doesn't give a shit at this point when you're like insulting your own fans and like calling them names, and like just like bitching about the on the internet, like how can people like hate these things? I just don't understand.
Yeah, because then it's over. Then he doesn't understand how writing even works anymore.
And like he keeps proving other people that like he doesn't understand shit. Like people like ask his opinions on Lord of the Rings, and like he keeps telling like, oh, I don't agree with these decisions. And like, okay, dude, can you just write the book? It has been a decade now.
I have not seen any of the Game of Thrones stuff and don't know anything about Game of Thrones. But how did the finale end? How bad was it?
Well, this stream isn't for that, but like maybe next time we can explain.
We'll bring Dunn on. He'll explain a 5-minute version, and it takes that long to explain because of the non-ending that happened. It's just this stuff occurs, and you're like, why? And it's really just a bunch of camera shots of entire scenes for 5 minutes where nothing happens, and it's like, what is going on? So,
quick explanation: nobody liked it.
Yeah, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. So
even like the diehard fans who were like praising the show on HBO, and like they were like sticking with it even for 7th season, I believe. Like the 8th season was just so bad that even they were broken.
Also, I want to apologize for having a mental stutter earlier. That was probably as bad as Joe Biden's.
Oh no! That's not physically possible yet. Every week is something new with Joe. It's amazing. Okay, 2 minutes? No, 3 minutes left.
And vanilla. As a male otaku, I will fight to defend men's right to enjoy and create works focused on women. It's not my fault I was born a man, and being a woman does not give someone exclusive rights to fictional representations of other women, no matter how misrepresented they feel they are.
That's so dumb. Like, people are going to make whatever they want to make, regardless of the fans' opinions. That's a silly thing to say. But what he's saying is right.
But he's explaining it to the horrible, dumb feminist girls that he somehow thinks also have a point or had a point.
Yeah, well.
He's criticizing Christ while still thinking he's on the inside.
Fiction often exists so that people can explore ideas without interfering with the lives of real people. In that regard, a guy has every right to explore women and femininity through fiction, no matter how much it may disgust you, because ultimately they aren't interacting with you at all by doing so. Plus, if I had to bet, something tells me that letting men enjoy works made by and for women will overall help both genders communicate more clearly. As for all those comments talking about how Miku is 16 or even 14, I've got another video you can reference on that topic.
So these are the same people. And you see, there's all these horrible flags everywhere. And these people don't understand, yes, this is a teenager, but a teenager and a child is not the same thing. Teenagers are sexually active with each other, or at least interested. The sexual maturity is already there. The mental, emotional maturity, not. For the past of our species, that was kind of enough. Because that was the point. Get them. The evolutionary idea is just they just need to hook up, and afterwards they stay together, and care about the offspring. And being in a relationship and expecting a child usually makes both the mother and the father grow up. There are some processes that are being started in the brain in regards to development as well It's a super interesting topic. It's not much research as far as I'm aware, but these processes are there. Like you're going through not exactly another puberty, but something similar when you're expecting, and that goes for both the man and the woman, not just the mother. And that's the interesting part, because this is how you somehow know what to do, because it just grows in your brain. But these people that he's showing here on screen, that these are the same types that also, in case of the lesbian, for example, will lewd Miku. It's okay when she does it.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Exactly.
Also, one of the profile pictures is a lesbian pride flag with Candace on it. If I remember correctly, Candace was so thirsty for a guy character, Jeremy, that you'd think she was in the Mojave Desert constantly.
I have never heard of that character.
All right.
Called Anime's Problem. I don't feel the need to elaborate on it here. For our discussion, I have some questions for you. Have you ever felt alienated from a community or fandom by people like this? Are there works of fiction that you are, or were, embarrassed about enjoying because presumably they were made for a different demographic? This is some serious stuff, and I'd like to think I'm understanding. So please...
How is it serious? You either like something or you don't, or you're embarrassed by something or you're not. It's not...
My life doesn't revolve around these media things.
Yeah.
I would
when I stand up from this chair, I just go back to reality.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I cannot live in like a VTuber person, I think.
To be fair, I think he's talking about people getting chased out of fandoms like this, which is something that's
well. I would.
The whole mistake was social media.
Yeah, I go back to my time with the BioWare social network where you get banned and you get permabanned, but that's just arguing with other people because they either jump on you for saying something to disagree with, and you just keep going at them because you're relentless, and they see that as aggression, and then you get banned. It's like, I didn't say anything wrong, but oh no, you were you're doing this too much. It's like, that's the point. That's discussions. We're supposed to be having discussions, and they're passionate from fans. So I don't think I got pushed out of the group, but by that time I didn't want to be there anymore anyway. So it's like I don't belong here because the people here don't really listen anyway.
Yeah. And what I can tell from the comic, manga, and role-playing shop I frequented when I was a teenager, like the lower floor was all role-playing stuff, books for various tons of games you've never ever heard about, and of course trading card games and all this other stuff. On the top floor you had comics and manga, and everybody there was interested in these things, and everybody had a good time. There were men, there were women, there was a make LARP weapons workshop. You could get supplies for that stuff, and there were a lot of women in LARPing as well, like fantasy LARP, and the cosplayers also use those resources. So it was like a perfect combination, and as I said, boys and girls were there, kids and adults, and the same when I in those times on BBS boards on the internet, we just discussed the figure. Like, it was just light discussions about the stuff we liked. There was this shit that's going on now on social media with all these crazy, actually sex obsessed for them, mainly girls. They're sex obsessed, and they're bringing in all the shit. We didn't have this back then, and yes, we enjoyed the pretty stuff. The girls enjoyed the pretty guys. We enjoyed the big boobs. What's the big deal? And now it's we have a bunch of rabid feminists who just complain about everything, say you can't have this, you can't have that, and it's just teenagers. Horrible, spoiled, narcissistic teenagers. They are the problem.
All right. 2 more minutes.
Let your thoughts flow in the comments below.
Oh, we're done.
Before I
Awesome.
go ahead and roll the...
All right. There's his wife, apparently. All right. Very long outro. Okay, fair enough.
She has the same hair.
Yeah.
The same kind of movements as well.
All right, so obviously he likes Fate. There you go. Good enough. Cool. Okay, that guy wasn't so bad.
Yep.
I'd give him an 85%. Pretty good. Pretty good
Yep.
delivery. The topics were good. Good explanation. A little weird.
Not too offensive.
Yeah, not too weird and creepy. Just sort of like, yeah, it's his sound. His voice was
Yeah.
creeping me out a bit. But then what he was saying was good. So I was like, all right, I'm good with this guy. He's cool. Making sense. Could follow along.
Oh, Tyler Preston in the chat said answered his question well. How many times I was driven from fandoms? Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Star Trek, etc.
All right.
And
Actually,
always by people who are not actual fans of these things.
All right.
I actually only started watching Doctor Who because of a girl I had a crush on. At the time.
Okay.
This was about like 5 years ago. I have no idea what the heck Doctor Who is about.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's huge. Very long, long history. So,
I think I've only been officially chased away from one fandom, and that's the Nausea fandom, but dear God, was it a horrible experience.
okay, we're going to go into memes now. This is from Mango Moo. This is the only Miku image by Sinencian I can post here, which is a pretty cool looking Miku for Among Us. So, looks good. A bunch of art of XJ9 and Miku fused together because they're both robot chicks. I don't know, I'm tired. Okay, cool. That one looks a little weird. And that one is a little more believable. There we go. No plug-in for her cord. She just sings with a cordless microphone. Okay. And she's got a green onion for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I never understood that. I
There's
guess
a
she
celery.
really likes leaks.
That's celery?
Celery leak.
It looks
Oh,
like a
Leak.
Yeah.
Leak.
It's a reference to the Finnish song.
Oh. All right.
Gangnam Style.
Interesting. Weeb Day is a perfect for funny club casting trivia. Alrighty, we got Darren Norris. Does he play the voices of all these guys?
Yes.
Okay, I have no idea.
Yo, I know Darren Norris from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Alrighty. PC Reloaded, Domino's app, Feet Hatsune Miku original. Can I play that?
Yes. It used to be like the ad for the Domino's app in Japan.
Okay.
And you could like download that, and like when you ordered Domino's pizza, you could like have like a holographic shit like appearing. Well, I think it's just appears on your phone. I can't remember. Like it was 10 years ago. It was just so ridiculous. Like they had to like get Hatsune Miku to advertise Domino's pizza in Japan.
Oh. All right, here's a Chan post. Be me, 9-year-old. Okay. Shopping at Toys R Us, pick out some Barbie dolls, go to checkout. Clerk smiles and says, "Oh, are you shopping for your sister or cousin?" "Nope, for me." "Aren't those toys a little girly for you?" "I need some whores for my G.I. Joes."
Classic.
All right.
G.I. blows.
I hate that I have to work today. Well, here's a repainted Nerf hand solo blaster I meant to post earlier, but I couldn't put it back together. Oh, that looks cool. Yeah, nice. Nerf is really upping their game there. Me, whenever I see one of those pride flags as someone's profile pic or whatever, I see mental illness.
Yes, I agree.
Oh. Have sex. Oh. Oh. Yes, Japan. Have sex. Good for you. Hello, fellow anime fans. Former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe here. Agent Twilight and Agent Your Forger sure looked like they were having fun in today's episode, huh? Did you know that their Spy X family life is not that much different from an average home? Here's a fun idea. Why don't we try it for a few years? Let's do our best and try to be father and mothers for our very own wacky children like Agent Anya. Ha ha, crazy.
I think I've said this before, but you want to hear about that story that happened on a server that I was on, and it happened the very day that I was on it, where an admin basically got kicked for a while.
Weren't you on that server every day you were on that server?
It wasn't like that every day, but it was the very first day I was on it. Basically, what happened was 3 people were making fun of an admin. I was one of them for being a furry, making furry jokes. Admin gets so pissed off at us that he has the bright idea to post furry porn uncensored in the general chat. The main person of that server was pissed off at him because he knew there was minors in that chat. And I was like, what the fuck happened?
Okay.
Basically, furries are degenerates.
Okay, well,
There's
mod
no
broke
news.
his own rule. Yeah, it's kind of weird. So I think this is Mr. Sinister. I don't know who this dude is, but for whatever reason, he can't breed. So unfortunately, Shinzo's message to the world doesn't come out very well for him.
No. That's Zod.
Oh, that's Zod, really?
Yes,
That's Zod from Man of Steel.
Oh my God, you're right. I just noticed that.
You know when the neck snapping scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he literally can't read. One thing to maybe to send Shinzo Abe off on a nice thought. There was an anime. I think it was based on a manga. It was an anime with extremely short episodes, like 2 minutes or something, about mahjong, and it was like mahjong but Dragon Ball, or Dragon Ball but mahjong, and it was with all historical figures like world leaders, and always Shinzo Abe would come in and do the final move and beat the bad guy with mahjong Dragon Ball moves against people like Mao Zedong and such. It's great. Try to find it.
Really? They put Mao Zedong up there? Holy crap. Anyway.
I think I should mention the only reason I talked about that story was because there's obviously some limits on what you should do when talking about your fandom. Like, don't bring degeneracy in a chat that you probably know has minors in it. Which some
If you ask me,
people-
minors shouldn't even be on the internet.
Yeah, but
Not today. Not today's internet.
All right. Well, I don't know what Dead End Paranormal Park is.
Degeneracy.
It looks like another one of those Steven Universe style comic animations.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Everything about us is disgusting.
I have found the next Steven Universe, and honestly, somehow worse than Steven Universe. I'm sorry for this. Really? Worse than Steven Universe? Wow. Interesting.
It's more
Again,
degenerate.
I will say that Steven Universe only has 3 good characters I like. One of them is Spinel from the movie. One of them is Lapis, and the other one's Peridot. Those 3 I like. I'll admit.
Which are all villains.
All right.
What?
Well, either way, guys, that was our belated anime day. We're probably going to have this again in another few days if we're not lazy. Or provided we have a good anime video to watch. I didn't know this was going to be at least a good messaged YouTube video, as opposed to, I didn't really like the visuals. I didn't really like the voice. That was kind of turning me off. But, you know, he said some good stuff, and that was enough for me to pay attention. So, well, it's a great evening. I'm sure you guys have a nice evening to chill and just do whatever you like to do. Get a drink, relax, do some writing, go for a walk outside. It's great weather, at least where I'm at. So hopefully,
Touch grass.
walk outside. Yeah, whatever it takes to get out from your seat and just enjoy the weather. It's great. So, well, I have to do that because I'm in Canada and we only get this a few months of the year. So it's freezing the rest of the year. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm not sure what we're up to tomorrow and Sunday, but we will find out. Keep the suggestions coming, keep the voting going, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Having a great time.